Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to building your own electrical system simply and, to be fair, cheaply. Now, this is the third episode in this series, so if you want to go back, there's a link in the description, or I'll put a card up in the corner here. So, what do we have? We have a 460 Fogstar super battery. Now I say super battery because these batteries are the absolute nuts. They really are. Don't bother with anything else. My personal opinion. They have lent me this battery and I have one fitted in my van, as you know, and it is just brilliant. It says 460, but it'll actually give you way more than that. Anyway, the other parts, 12 Volt Planet, an amazing company. Both of these companies are absolutely fantastic. Basically, they've got backup. You can ring them up, both companies. Other people you have to email and all that sort of thing. And it's such a faff. If you have a problem or a technical issue, you can just ring them up. They answer and they tell you what you need to know. So that is why I recommend these two companies. There are others out there, probably just as good, but I have no problems whatsoever recommending these two companies. Anyway, so today we are going to fit an inverter. And here we have, this is a Victron Phoenix inverter. And this one here is 1,200 watts. Absolutely brand spanking new. So this is what you're going to get in your box. So you've got some gump there. That'll also have product information, product labels in here. And then we have the lovely out bit of blue loveliness. Oh, it's like Christmas. So here we have 12 volts, 1,200 watts, pure sine wave. Not modified, it's pure sine wave. So this will act for the 240 side like a house would. So anything you plug into your house, plug into here and it will all work. You can get others, modified sine wave, quasi sine wave, all that, but it's just, don't bother. Save yourself some money. Just get pure sine wave and a reliable inverter. So this one is from 12 Volt Planet and also for demonstration purposes. So I need to mount it there, or yeah, it's going to go here. So I'm going to mount this here and then I'll show you how to wire it in. It's not hard because we've already done everything. So we've got our negative bus bar and we've got our positive bus bar. So everything's going to come into here. So we will have our negative leads and our positive lead in the inverter. And the fuse, which will, for demonstration purposes, we're not going to put it under very much load. Going to put 125 amp fuse on it. It should be a lot more, should probably be about 150 to 160. But as I say, I'm not going to load this up, and unfortunately I have run out of fuses because I've been giving them away. And I've done myself a bit of a kipper. So for demonstration purposes, and I'll completely freely admit, this fuse is not for this inverter when under full load. So anyway, I will be using this because I'll probably just chuck in a charger or just for demonstration purposes. But you need to, if you do order from 12 Volt Planet, just give them a ring and say, can you send me the correct size fuse with the correct size cable? And then it's all done. Anyway, so let's get this inverter mounted. Let's get the fuse in and get these cables on. Okay, we have now mounted the inverter. wherever it suits you, but it's a good idea to keep the cable runs from the 12 volt side as short as possible. The shorter, the easier it is, and you can use, there is a calculator for voltage loss. So if you calculate your distance, you can probably use the minimum requirement for the cable, but it's always best, in my opinion, to use the maximum, because then you know that for whatever reason you're going to have the perfect flow of current to your inverter, and then you won't have any undersized cables. But for demonstration purposes, I have got some perfectly adequate cables, and we are going to fit them, so the 12 volt negative to the negative, and 12 volt positive to the positive. Now these are a bit long because I used them for something else, and as I said, this is only for demonstration purposes, because obviously this is just a whiteboard and this is representing a vehicle in a very crude manner. So I've moved these just so you can see that it's a little bit neater, to be fair. So we need to fit our fuse, and then that will go on with a washer, lock washer, and then the nut. So like so. Our power is off at the moment, so there's no way you can, there's no power here, no lights, no nothing, no USB sockets. I've turned it off. So just nip that up. Don't have to over tighten these because there is obviously the lock washer. And then we can put in our positive cable. And then we have our washer, lock washer, and nut. Okay. And flip it up. Now I am at work, so there might be some residual noise in the background because I'm going away in a few days, so I wanted to get this third video out. So okay, now we have our positive cable all done, fused, electric off, and now we can insert it into the positive side of the Victron inverter. Like so. I'm going to leave that like that. So now we're going to do the negative side. So we take off the negative side protection cover from the bus bar. Take off our very large nut. Now these particular bus bars, okay, are only rated to 250 amps maximum load. So if your system is going to exceed that, then like I said in the video before, it's probably a good idea to get the Victron Lynx distribution unit, because they can handle 1000 amps. So let's get this nice and tidy. So there we go, put that there, put the washer back on, lock washer, and the nut, and tighten. Okay, there we go. So right, let's put the protection cover back on. And the little caps. We'll also do the same for the positive side. So that's nice and neat. So all we've got to do now is connect the negative side to the negative side of the inverter. So we've got our screwdriver and we're just going to insert and job is done. It's easy as that. Now you will notice there is a earth bonding terminal here, and if you so choose you can use that to earth it to your vehicle chassis, or if you have a boat then you'll have to have it to an isolation pole or something like that. Above, okay, is this little green plug, and this allows you to connect a remote switch. So basically 2-core cable from here to there. It's quite clearly marked high and low, and you just, I'll take it out of the packet and I'll show you. So then once this is in the back of your van, instead of leaving it on all the time, you can just fit this. This comes off and cut your hole, and then you can fit in here. Got low and high. Don't know if the camera can make that out. So they go to the corresponding cables. So what we'll do actually is I'll wire this up just to show you, and I'll just keep it in this little packet, and then we can just turn it on and off like that. Right, so we've got our 2 bits of cable. It is a good idea to get just some 2-core, but for this purpose I'll use what I have, which unfortunately isn't very much. With a very small screwdriver, we'll undo high, connect that up. And we'll do the same for the low. And gently tighten down. With your ends, do the same. One. And 2. And this cable can go as long or as short as you need. The inverter will be in the back of your van if that's where you choose to fit it, and this control switch will be inside your van where I have mine. So we can just plug that in. Okay, so we now have the inverter control connected up to the inverter via plug. The inverter is switched on, so all we've got to do now is press the button and the inverter will come on and the light will show green. So now, no alarm button, this is good to use. So, as I said, it's really easy. You've got your 12-volt battery, this is a 460 amp hour, go into a breaker, go into a negative bus bar, going to a positive bus bar to the fuse. As I said earlier, these could only take 250 amps. So we have our inverter, and she's good as gold. Now the easiest way to get power from the back of your van to the front of your van is to buy a 5-meter extension lead. If you're not going to use very much, then just a 13 amp will do. If you're going to use more, like kettles, hair straighteners, then I really recommend do what I've done and buy the oven grade heat proof cable. It's 2.5 mil and it's a lot of money for the cable, but it's buried in your van. So now we can just plug this in like so. Here's your 240 socket, and now we will plug in just Bluetooth speaker somehow. No, wrong one. Bluetooth speaker. So just plug it in. There you go. The light is on, so that's working. Let's go and find something else. Right, found something a bit more power hungry. So what we're going to do, plug it in the back, plug it in the extension lead. Hopefully magic should appear. Okay, take 2. So it's plugged in and I found the remote control. So hopefully it should come on. Lights, camera, action. So it has been used as a PC. We can now see we've got a 240 volt TV running from our inverter all day long. Simple as that. So we'll put this down here. The remote control out of the way. So there's your inverter, 2 cables, that's all it is. 2 cables there, 2 cables there, 2 cables to the battery. It's all just 2 cables. That's all it is. So there you go. Easy how to install a pure sine wave Victron inverter. And that will pretty much go to any other inverter that you choose to buy. I've only used Victron because I have tried other stuff, and after a while it's almost like a waste of money. So buy once, job done. Fit and forget. Same as the battery. Fogstar 460 amp hour battery with a 10-year warranty. Fit and forget. They have the apps. You can actually plug in this to VE Direct. You can remotely bark it up with the switch here, that's as cheap as chips. A bit of twin core cable, connect it to the remote control, put that in your van anywhere. 8 extension lead, and if you want to like modify it a bit more, you can just unplug that, chop that off, and just wire that straight in to a 2 gang socket, and that's hunky dory. That's all you need. 1200 watts and pretty much do a small air fryer. It would do a set of GHDs because they're only 150 watt, a small 750 or 800 watt kettle. So you haven't got to scrimp and scrape on anything. You haven't got to worry about running out of gas. You've got your PV, and in the next video I will go into quite some depth about the different types of DC to DC charger. Now these ones are the old style, you now have the new XS, but these I expect to be relatively cheap, depending where you get them from, because they probably will be discontinued. So if you can buy them now, they are great, but I will warn you, they do get warm, but that's the only downside. So In the next video, I will show you the difference between a non-isolated, which is just the 3 pole terminals, and the isolated, which is 4 pin terminals. They pretty much do the same, but one is going to be for a vehicle with a chassis, i.e. metal, and the other one would probably be for a motorhome that has a fiberglass chassis, so you have to run cables back to the battery and back to your leisure battery, or a boat. So, as I said, it's not hard. Everything is just 2 wires. 2 wires there, 2 wires there, 2 wires here, 2 wires there, 2 wires to the battery. Simple as that. Anyway, I want to say a massive shout out to 12 Volt Planet. Thank you very much. And a massive shout out to Fogstar. They are the sponsors of this video, and I will leave all the links in the description down below for you to ponder over. These 2 companies give amazing support, and I just think that in this day and age it's well worth investing in good companies that aren't going anywhere. Anyway, enough of that. As I say, thank you to Fogstar, thank you to 12 Volt Planet, thank you guys for watching, and I hope it's been of some interest and help clear things up to see how easy it is to make a simple 12 volt electrical system in your van. Anyway, I'm Sean, thanks for watching Project Camper, carry on living the van life. Cheers everyone, bye.